Now, have you had a mentor in your life?
Oh, I've had several.
Can you give me an example of maybe not necessarily the person unless you feel comfortable sharing their name, but we'll give you an example of the kind of impact a mentor's had on your life.
Man, I could give so many examples. I'm thinking right now of a guy by the name, his name was Dr. Kepra Nura Kim. I met him in 1997 at the University of Oklahoma. He was a professor of Intro to African American Studies. He just passed away about a year ago. He was a big guy. He was 6'5", about 300 pounds.
Whoa.
And he had a huge voice. And he was one of those guys, a lot of times you meet big people.
Yeah.
They all their life, they've been taught not to be intimidating. So they try to be nice and talk low. That was not him. And he had this crazy haircut where he had I never seen it before. He had locks, but he had it cut close on the side. So
was it like Al Sharpton?
No, it wasn't like Al Sharpton, like dreadlocks down the middle, but cut close on the side. It was
really? That's beautiful.
Very intimidating guy. And let me tell you, this guy in his class, and I thought it was pretty hot stuff, right? I thought I really knew some stuff. And I raised my hand one day, and he called on me, and I said whatever the answer, whatever. And I was feeling good about it. And he said, and I was like, what you mean, and? He said, what does that mean? Because I was just regurgitating some information thinking that was going to impress him. He said, well, what does that mean, Mr. Solomon? I didn't have an answer to that. He embarrassed me.
Oh.
Then the next class period, or we had an assignment, I get it back and it looked like somebody had bled on it. He just had marked it up. I got a 0 on the test. Can I say pissed?
Yeah, you can say pissed.
I was and I went to him, I said, man, why are you being so hard on me? He said, I'm being hard on you because I see potential, but you're not living up to it.
Ooh.
And that guy mentored me, worked with me. My writing skills were horrendous. My diction was horrendous. I mean, and he worked with me and worked with me and worked with me and just became one of my best friends in life.
Now, I'm going to say this because I think it's absolutely critical for anybody. Every entrepreneur, we either learn from mistakes or mentors. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And so I have found that every mentor I've ever had in my life, to highlight that, they've made me mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember sitting down with one mentor of mine. I used to meet, and I'm ashamed to say, but I used to suggest that for brides and grooms, and when I booked weddings, we had a wedding entertainment service, and I would suggest that the couples would meet me for lunch. And I was meeting them over there at McDonald's. Nothing wrong against the Golden Arches, but I mean, that was my suggested spot for a formal meal or meeting was McDonald's.
Right.
And I remember looking at him, and he says, You can't dress like that.
Right.
You are a DJ, which was questionable enough hiring you for a wedding, and then you're 20, you look young.
Right.
You got double hoop earrings. What are you wearing?
Right.
And why are you going to McDonald's?
Right.
And I said, well, sir, I would like to go to McDonald's, but I have to close some deals first before I can have enough money to start going up street to Panera, which at the time was St. Louis bread,
right.
the $6 salad instead of the 99-cent. And he says, you'll never have any money.
Right.
Just go over there, buy a coffee, offer to buy them a coffee.
Right.
I'm telling you, you need it. And it hurt. It was painful.
Right. Right.
And I kind of went home and I was like, well, I don't know what he's talking about.
Right.
And then I realized, well, he's a best-selling author and I'm not. And his life was made into a movie and mine hasn't. Well, I'll do it. And that's kind of how it feels like a lot.
Right, absolutely.
So I think that's something that we all, if you have a good mentor, they're going to kind of irritate you.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I can remember another mentor of mine, Mr. Carl Williams, who was my 9th grade teacher. He was the first African-American male teacher that I had and growing up, and I hated him. Let me tell you why. Because he wouldn't allow you to write with anything but a black pen.
Oh.
You had to use a certain margin paper. I mean, he was just the worst. But that man became, and he's still a very good friend of mine because he challenged you, he made you better, and he pushed you. And that's what you want from a mentor.
Now, let me ask you this here. If I'm somebody right now watching this and I've never had a mentor, or maybe I'm a student but I wasn't ready, so the teacher never appeared because I wasn't ready and I'm kind of pushing the teachers off.
Right.
If I'm looking for a mentor right now, where would you suggest that I would go to find one outside of Thrive? Because I mean, we've created Thrive to be that for you, that virtual mentor. But where would you suggest I would go to find a mentor?
I mean, if you are trying to be in the medical profession, contact the medical association in your area. If you're trying to be a lawyer, go to the local bar. If you're trying to be an architect, go to the architectural organizations.
Yeah.
Whatever you're trying to do, go to where those individuals are. And like you stated, you don't want to go there dressed inappropriately. I tell my students and I tell my clients also, but really my students, I say, you got to understand that life is about relationships, and also life is about uniforms. You show up to play the game, and you show up in a proper uniform. And I explain to them, when you go to play basketball, you don't show up in a helmet. Why? And they say, because that's for football. So if you're going to show up and you want a mentor, and if you want DJs to mentor you, there's no reason for you to have to show up in a 3-piece tuxedo.
Yeah.
Because DJs don't walk around in that manner. And vice versa. If you want to go get mentored by a pediatrician, don't show up there with a basketball uniform on.